On the sixth day of Christmas, namely 90s gave to me 16s a drinking, 5 hee-hee-hees, 4 free funzos, 3 Corvettes, 2 drinks of sherry, and Pete in a pear tree.
Welcome to Namely 90s. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right, you're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram at namely90s with the 90s. We're also on Bluesky now, which is at namely90s.bsky.social.
Wow.
And if you'd like to find us on YouTube, you can do so at youtube.com/@namely90s. And finally, if you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s and get signed up for one of our support levels. Wait, are you questioning my my Bluesky URL?
I don't know how Bluesky works. We're still new to it, so I'm just making sure that it goes to the actual thing. It just takes us to the app webpage when you don't have Bluesky.
But anyway, welcome to our 4th annual 12 Days of Christmas specials and episode 6. Happy Boxing Day.
Happy Boxing Day. We're halfway to the new year.
And a special welcome to Morgan Rowe, our guest from the Zeitgeist Radio, I'm assuming podcast, or is it just Zeitgeist Radio?
It's a podcast, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, great to be here. I'm very excited. I'm also mystified by Bluesky, and you guys must be very fancy to have an invite. I was among fancy company here.
I mean, as of recording this, I just got an invite like 2 weeks ago randomly because I was lurking on one of many Discords I'm a part of, and they were just like throwing them out in the Discord. So
you're just fancy Discord.
It doesn't seem possible to figure out how exactly it works.
It's very mysterious.
I don't think there are hashtags, but
there
yeah,
are no hashtags.
people will post something and have like 600 like retweets or reskies or likes or something. It's just very confusing.
Flappy Birds.
Yeah, I guess. Gosh.
I mean, there might be hashtags on Bluesky. There's not hashtags on Threads, but everyone there was a mass access to Threads like a few weeks ago as of recording this, and everyone's just like hashtag. But Morgan will set you up with the Bluesky code.
Then I'll be fancy too.
Yeah. Just remind me after the episode, and nice. I think we have 1 or 2 invites still up for grabs. But yeah, welcome, Morgan.
Thanks. Very excited to be here.
I have had the pleasure of knowing Morgan in real life, where she's our accompanist. Nope. Can't say the word.
Piano player.
Yes, piano player. Or as I like to say, pianist.
Yes.
I'm
very
sure.
loudly.
And carefully.
Yes. For our musical improv team musical improv group from the Central Coast Comedy Theater.
Well, that's great. We don't usually know our guests, except the time my wife was on multiple times.
Yes. But yeah, you're a performer, a teacher, a speaker, an anthropologist. I may have stole that from Zeitgeist Academy. Why don't you introduce yourself and let us know about Zeitgeist Radio and Zeitgeist Academy?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I'm all things music. It's kind of this hobby that just keeps getting out of control. And then I keep saying yes to things like musical improv when I really should be, drawing boundaries around my time. But I love everything music. And I think it's super interesting the ways that people find to do musical things. So that's what Zeitgeist Radio is every week I interview someone from a different musical subculture and just kind of go all in on what makes them tick and what they do and what that subculture is. And it's endless amounts of fun for me. We've actually had Jill on from Musical Improv to talk about the group. That was very fun. And yeah, it's a good time over there.
Yeah, I got to listen to that episode and the one with that Andy was on.
Yeah, that's right. Musical improv. Lots of very interesting people join musical improv. If you think about it, it's such a weird thing to do that if you do it, you're probably interesting.
Absolutely. And your guests don't just limit themselves to being in our improv group. There's the lady that's the sea shanty one.
Yes, that was very fun. Sea shanties in all kinds of interesting places. My favorite from that episode was where she described there's, I guess, this thing in San Francisco where they do surprise tours where they just walk you around and then surprises happen. And
was
then,
this the dumpster part, or was
yes, they like. Can you imagine going on a tour and then all of a sudden a band jumps out of a dumpster and starts playing sea shanties with like an accordion? Like that would surprise me.
I would think I'd be getting robbed.
Yeah, if
I
you
would
get
be
stabbed,
very
that's the wrong tour. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Or is
it? She's a hoot. That was a very fun episode. Yeah. And people are like super smart. The last episode at the time of recording, the most recent one was from an audio software engineer, which sounds boring until she starts describing all the stuff that she does and all this like new tech that is out there being worked on. And it's amazing.
I wish I had an iota of that intelligence. Like
I know she designed her own major in school and like does all this stuff with machine learning as her master's degree. And now she works and it is crazy surround sound type technology that's coming out. It's very, very cool. So it's always going to be something different and interesting on Zeitgeist Radio. Zeitgeist it means spirit of the times. Basically like what's the feel of like what it's like to be alive at any particular point in time. So this is across history or within these little subcultures. So that's why I chose a word that's really hard to pronounce for my podcast, because that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's a great name for a podcast. Oh,
not as hard to say as musical improvisationalist, right? I didn't know that's a word, but I'm gonna coin it.
Yeah,
well, I couldn't even say accompanist. Apparently, still couldn't say it. Wow,
accompaniment-ist.
Yes.
No, that's not it.
I think people add more syllables to that word. There's accompanist, accompaniment-ist. It's just accompanist.
Accompanist, okay.
Accompanist, yeah. It's simpler than you think.
Yeah, that in my head I see accompanist. So that's where I'm going wrong.
Accompanist.
Yeah. I see on at some point you've played with Andre Bocelli.
Andrea Bocelli, yeah. I was on stage with him.
Wow.
Andrea Bocelli, and if you don't know, is like one of the most famous opera tenors in the history of the world. Incredible man, blind man.
If I know who it is, he's famous.
He's
really
I don't know anybody.
Famous.
I know. I don't know anybody either. But yeah, he came to, this was when I was living in Portland, Oregon, and he needed a backup band consisting of a full orchestra and choir. So I got to be in his backup band for all of these like opera pieces that he was doing, and it was awesome.
That's so cool. Was Andrew, was he the one that we sat in front of at the Mariners game that one time? Because I
would be very surprised.
We had an opera, or there was an opera singer that sang the national anthem.
That is true.
And they ended up having to sit behind us because we, for a special reason, got to sit in the front row.
There was
our fancy. Oh my gosh.
There was some sort of famous singer, but not like a pop singer, some sort of famous either opera or something like that, who sang the national anthem. Yeah.
The three tenors, is that?
Yeah, he's one of the three tenors.
Yeah,
there's like three super duper famous tenors, but he's blind, so I don't know. I guess.
Okay, maybe it was.
I don't know if he enjoys baseball.
No, probably not.
I don't know.
These weren't tickets that you buy. These are tickets that someone gives you because you're a dignitary or something.
You're so fancy. You guys are so fancy.
We lucked into it. Well, maybe luck's not the right word, but we happened upon them.
Here.
Yeah. Okay, maybe It was one of the three tenors. And
That's
I don't
pretty
remember which
cool.
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
We were
pretty
like,
freaking cool.
wow, they sat us in front of the person that like they brought specifically to sing the national anthem at this game. That's yeah.
Wow.
And I had a few notes for him personally.
No, we tried our best not to interfere with him.
Also, weren't we like 14 or something?
Yes, it was just a bunch of teenagers.
You're like 3 whats?
Yeah. I mean, I heard the Christmas album at the time. But yeah, enough about our fun. So it sounds like you've done a lot in the musical sphere over the years.
I have done a lot, and I continue to do a lot. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just this obsession that keeps on giving. And I just think it's so, again, I think it's so interesting. Most of my experiences tend to be like in the classical side. That's what I have my degree in and my study in. But the Zeitgeist Academy, which is kind of the parent of the Zeitgeist Radio, like it's just, I'm all about exploring interesting musical spaces. So we do just cool stuff with music. Anything I'm interested in, I go do. And most of the time it ends up working out really well. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, it's very fun.
Well, on top of the blog, on top of the radio, on top of the podcast, you also have a blog and a newsletter, and you on Zeitgeist Academy, you do you teach people how to sing, right?
Yeah, so I teach people how to sing. Zeitgeist Academy, we're doing some cool new stuff this coming year. I'm gonna run a blues class, how to play the blues, a virtual class that's gonna be in February. Depending on, I know you do editing. What day is Boxing Day?
26th of December.
26th of December. Okay. So yeah, in December, we did this thing called Sing We Joyous, which is a virtual choir, where people would learn. I did some voice lessons on how to sing some holiday songs, and then people would record themselves, send it in, and I do my best with my audio editing to push it all together.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then make a little virtual choir. So again, it's fun and random and whatever. Whenever I find somebody that I think is, an excellent teacher and does a really cool thing, there's always opportunity to come and teach that thing to others at the Zeitgeist Academy.
That's awesome. And where can they find Zeitgeist Academy and Zeitgeist Radio? Zeitgeist.
That's how you spell it. Zeitgeistacademy.com. You can find all the things there. Zeitgeist Radio. I mean, I'm on all platforms. I haven't found one I'm not on that it doesn't push to, including YouTube. So, you can find that pretty much anywhere. And it's great long form interviews, interesting guests, cool musical facts. You'll always learn something.
Twice a month or
every other week. Yep.
Okay.
We're on break right now until the new year, but that's not very far away. So January, starting in January, we'll have a whole bunch of awesome new guests and interviews lined up. So every other Wednesday morning is when it comes out.
Cool. Yeah, make sure to check that out. Zeitgeist Radio podcast and zeitgeistacademy.com. And we, as much as we'd love to just talk about music and who we sat in front of at Mariners games, we did bring you on to talk about a 90s episode, Christmas episode. That would be That 70s Show.
A 90s episode of a 70s themed television show. Which now, in retrospect, seems like a bad choice for us to talk about, but nevertheless.
I mean, if we wanted to watch that 90s show, I'm sure it's on Netflix still.
I know what's crazy though is if that show were to be today, it would be That 2000s show.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting.
How did that work in the 90s? Where like.
I think it was the thing where it's like, what would make parents feel old and children feel nostalgic?
Right. I think millennials would lose their minds. Like we would not be okay if it was That 2000 show and it's like 2005 is like the big throwback like 20 years ago.
I think the theory I came up with is that like the decades, really seem to be very delineated as far as their culture. But then when you start getting up above the 2000s, they sort of
just
blend.
Stopped. Yeah, exactly. It just got, it like there was, so I would say there's 2000s culture.
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
we're still in it.
Yeah. It's still 2016, actually.
Or as
It
far as
is.
or is that just our mindset? Like the Gen Z and Gen
that's true.
Alpha, maybe they're like, oh yeah, that was our childhood so long ago.
I don't know, though, because we sit here and we see the 90s as a discernible decade and the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, and that we even saw the 70s as a discernible decade in the 90s. So
Yeah.
20 years after the fact, we should be able to see it, you know?
But my question is, if we were us, except back in the 90s, would we have seen that delineation though?
This is
Or
becoming
would it have
very
just been-
existential.
Very, very
True.
philosophical.
But like,
I
the
mean,
2000s,
just the styles and everything. Like even the styles. Like there's a discernible 80s style, discernible 70s style. I'm
Okay.
pretty much wearing the same clothes now as in the 2000s. Not that I'm the pinnacle of
The
fashion
only difference
by
was
any
like
means.
the quality of the video and the 4:3 aspect ratio. If not for that, I would just think it
Right.
was the same, pretty
Right.
much.
True.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there was distinct culture moments in like the 2000s versus the 2010s with like, dude, where's my car?
Like
And,
moments, though,
yeah,
not a
like
cohesive.
Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera kissing at the VMAs. I don't know why that popped in my head.
Yeah, there have been like movements and stuff, but as far as like I don't know, and I just don't know a lot about like fashion or anything, but I can't think of it. Like if you asked me to describe the fashion between 2010 and 2020, like I don't
What is
know
interesting,
that I
though,
could
is
do
it's-
that.
skinny jeans.
It's hard to put your finger on it, but it is worse back then. Like I can't say why, but it does
Yeah.
seem a little bit, odd.
Emo.
Yeah.
Like pop punk emo music was a thing that was there and kind of went away.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Hot topic.
Which we still go into sometimes, which is kind of fun.
Yes,
Oh man, I
just
haven't been
sex
in a hot
toys
topic in a
everywhere.
long time.
Yeah, I know. That's why the kids aren't allowed in the back of the store.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Especially Spencer's.
I don't
too,
know
by
if
the
I'm
way.
allowed in the back of the store.
Gosh.
So that 70s show, for those of you that don't know, is a period teen sitcom that aired on Fox from 1998 to 2006. It focuses on the lives of 6 teenage friends living in the fictional town of Point Place, Wisconsin from 1976 to 1979. Features Topher Grace, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson, Laura Prepon, Will Revolve Dorama, as Deborah Jo Rupp, Kurtwood Smith, and occasional appearances by Tommy Chong.
And they're all babies. You watch these. It was kind of fun to rewatch this and be like, oh,
Yeah, isn't Mila Kunis like 14?
She is
she's really
14.
young.
Jeez.
And yeah, I think Ashton Kutcher was 19 at the time, or 21, and that he had to make out with a 14-year-old.
The immediate problem I had with this show, by the way, when I first turned it on, and I was just like, shut up, Meg.
Because she's Meg on Family Guy.
That is true. Oh, did we jump the gun? Was I supposed to open
We did.
the
Oh,
gift?
so Andrew wasn't able to make it completely to yesterday's episode on Christmas Day, but we do have a tradition of Andrew opening a gift from me to him, usually concerning the 90s. This time it concerns the podcast. Merry Christmas, Andrew.
Thank you. This time it did not come in the usual Amazon gift pack.
Yeah, I've decided I'd save $4.
Yeah, and honestly, I can never get that open. But it's a white
Single
rectangular
string.
box, which I shall now open. Made in China.
Yeah, good podcasting for me to have him do
Is
a
this from-
visual gag.
Is this from Temu?
Probably. You might want to get a check for lead.
Oh. It's a small clapperboard.
So for those of you that haven't been listening regularly, Andrew has to now travel sometimes and record on the road. So I was trying to get him the most inconvenient clapperboard possible.
It's a travel size clapperboard.
But it's only like maybe 25% smaller than your current one.
Well, let's do the comparison for the podcast. Visual comparison.
Oh, it is smaller.
It's substantially smaller.
See, I was trying to find one that was like super small.
That would have been
annoyingly
funny.
Small. Yeah.
Like it's on a keychain.
Yeah. And they had those, but you had to order 20 of them at a time. So
Oh, well sold. No.
yeah.
No, thank you. This is good because I still need to synchronize things. I'll put in my carry-on. You never know.
The first year I got him a book of poetry by Jewel, A Night Without Armor, and we spent 6 months reading those in our interstitials in the podcast.
That is one sexed up Alaskan, I'll tell you what. Seriously though, and then my wife accidentally donated the book. It's so sad. I couldn't, and I went back to the Goodwill to find it. I couldn't find it. It was gone. Either someone gobbled it right up, or they just like took one look at it and just flung it into the bushes.
Well, I hear they move their product around, so you probably would have had to go to every Goodwill within a 30-mile radius.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, where you could always just buy another copy of A Night Without Armor.
I feel like we got all the mileage out of that we could have, you know.
True.
And I even wrote my own Jewel style poem, but that's beside the point. It was at the year 2-year
anniversary special. Yeah. But speaking of getting mileage out of stuff, Eric in this episode tries to get mileage out of $40 of instead of buying an actual tree, which brings us to season. Oh wait, no. Did we gloss over holiday memories?
A bit.
It's okay. I'll insert it.
Naturally in the course of discussion. Okay. Then let's talk about That 70s Show. Oh, wait. Did we even talk about memories of That 70s Show? Did anyone? Because Morgan, you have zero connection with this show.
So here's the thing. So I'm from Montana and I grew up without TV. Pretty rural. So we watched movies, but I didn't watch any. So I have caught up on a lot of 90s culture stuff, but I experienced it all in like college and after graduation. So I have watched That 70s Show and many others 90s show, but the timing in my head is all really weird as far like I didn't watch it in the 90s.
Fair.
After.
I have to ask because I have a Montana connection. Which general area of the state?
South of Helena.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the mountains, yeah. Where's your connection?
My mom is from sort of northeast Montana.
Northeast Montana.
Yeah. Glasgow-ish. Yeah.
Not much up there.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Cows.
The High Line.
Basically, and plains.
And Amtrak if you're up north enough. Yeah.
That is true. So anyway, that's the Montana
I'm
connection.
from the mountain part.
Okay. I watched the show in its original broadcast. I mean, not religiously, but my parents watched it, so I watched it. And I don't know. I have generally positive memories of this show, I would say. Probably some of the jokes were over my head at that time, but it was familiar to watch again.
When they're smoking?
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, as a kid?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, sure.
I watched it as well.
Well, it went through 2006, remember? So by then we were juniors in high school. So
right, totally.
Eventually, I caught on. Yeah,
totally. Like you. I mean, I recall watching it. I guess not religiously, but I did try to watch it when it was on. And I definitely watched the final seasons, unfortunately, because those weren't great. After Topher Grace left and then came back and then left, something like that. But yeah, you know, the characters, it was fun seeing the characters evolve over those seasons, but it was kind of nice to just go back and watch like a first season episode, like this episode is.
It was interesting. Because I think I caught it towards the later seasons. Most of the times that the episodes I watched were a little bit later. And they came far, I would say.
I mean, towards the end, it was like, because Topher Grace left, and like, let's introduce, I want to say his name was like Ricky or something, and it's played by Seth Meyers' brother, Josh Meyers, the current late night host and former SNL cast member Seth Meyers. And it's just like, they're like, yeah, let's make this a more charismatic Eric Foreman, but that doesn't work because Eric Foreman's supposed to be like kind of an idiot or kind of like, but you want to root for him, not like I'm great at everything and kind of a prick guy. Just, yeah. But yeah, that final season, not great.
I don't think I watched the final season.
I don't think I watched the final season either.
Seasons, yeah. And then Eric even comes back for like the final few episodes or something. Anyway, season 1, episode 12, the best Christmas ever. Probably the best Christmas episode of That 70s Show ever. Starts out with and did anyone else find like the opening like introduced 7 different storylines and they followed all of them?
Yeah, this episode was all over the place.
Yes.
Yep.
No, go ahead. I thought the $40 that came
carried,
back. That was a gift that kept on giving.
Yeah, I think that was sort of the primary driver of the episode. Eric wants to put on his own Christmas party, but he wants money to do so they can buy beer. And then Red
I love
Foreman,
where he says that haggling is a skill you need as an adult. If you need to be an adult, you need to learn how to haggle. I cannot haggle.
And then Eric's like, how about $50? And he's like, knock it off.
Yeah.
But the idea is to save as much money as possible on the tree so they can retain as much money as possible to buy beer.
For their party that Red lets them have.
Yeah.
There's a subplot where Hyde is trying to figure out the best gift to get Donna for $6.20. And let's see, Jackie. So this is all set up in like the opening scene, by the way. Jackie's like, oh, we give baskets to the less fortunate, but then eventually
the unfortunate.
The unfortunate.
The unfortunate.
The unfortunate. You mean the less fortunate? Whatever, bums.
Yeah. And
oh boy.
So bad.
Yeah, and then she drops all pretenses by the end of the episode and just keeps saying bums over and over again.
Right.
Lori's home from college. That's Eric's older sister, and they're always fighting with each other. What does she do? She's just chaos.
She's chaos.
Yeah, she added rum to the punch that Kitty brings down to the party for the kids. Red has to work Christmas Eve at Bob's place. I think like in the first episode or 2, he loses a job at the auto factory or whatever. Auto mill. Nope, factory. And is working for Donna's dad, Bob, their neighbor, the Pinciottis. And let's see, Kelso is trying to not spend money on Jackie for Christmas, and then keeps saying, let's not get gifts for everyone, and then is suddenly surprised when everyone has
Everyone
gifts.
else has gifts.
That is really the worst. And you're like, no gifts. We're not doing gifts. And then everyone shows up. You're like,
shows up with gifts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my family like has a constantly changing like, let's not do gifts, let's do stocking stuffers, and then like one person doesn't clearly get that, and then it's just like and then it changes the next year, and I'm like, I don't have gifts for you. Anyway, let's see. But yes, back to the primary story. Eric gets $40 to go get a tree, has to haggle, but instead he just goes to the side of the highway and they cut down a tree so they could keep the $40 for beer.
This part was particularly funny for me because that's where, I mean, again, I grew up in rural Montana. That is how we got a tree, not on the highway, but we'd like go out in the hills and find a tree and just like cut it down and bring it in. And
you can do that now if you have a permit. But,
there is absolutely no way that beautiful tree came from the wild. Like it's supposed to be this like perfect tree, and Kitty's all happy.
Where in the wild they look like the Charlie Brown tree,
or like they've got one side that's like was like not in the sun, and it's all like goofy. You have to like choose the side that goes in the corner. Yeah.
Also my question is, they already had a Christmas tree. Like, why did it go into the basement?
That's true.
Who bought that
very
tree?
Confusing. I guess that was just a tinsel. I don't know. Some old.
Could have been a fake one. Were artificial trees a thing in the 70s?
Probably. They were probably really flammable, though.
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess they had those silver trees, but yes. And so I think Hyde at this point is still asking everyone, what should I get? What should I get Donna?
But not Donna.
$6.
Not Donna.
Yeah.
Not Donna.
Not Donna. But
totally not for Donna.
Totally not for Donna. What should I get Donna? Not Donna. I think at some point he asked Jackie, and she's like, he's like, I'm trying to get a gift for a girl, and she's like, oh my God, you're in love with Donna.
She knew instantly.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, not for $6, you're not getting Donna. She takes a stand for her friend.
Mm-hmm. And then Fez also overhears this, and he's like, in my country, we would hang you by the tree or something like that. But we're not in my country. Go for Donna.
So good luck. Go for it.
Who told him to buy the perfume White Shoulders?
Oh, that's Donna's mom.
Donna's mom.
Is that a dandruff joke
Midge.
or a Liz Taylor joke? I can't quite.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, they played it up for just the shoulder gag because Midge is a bit of an airhead.
Okay.
But White Shoulders perfume is a popular 70s
Is it real?
fragrance. Yeah.
Wow.
Launched by the design house of Evian in 1949.
Like the water?
Now you know
The
what
bottled
to
water?
get Andrew next year
No.
for Christmas.
Sorry, Evian.
Okay.
Yes, I'll get that for next
Yeah,
year.
I am in need of a new fragrance. Definitely.
Let's see. It says
This could be your year.
it's not for sale in Catalina Island.
Darn
What?
it. Well, there go my afternoon plans.
Sorry. Here, a woman's fragrance that possesses a blend of classic florals, including gardenia, lilac, amber, oak moss, and jasmine. It is recommended for evening wear.
I see.
Yes.
Which is funny because Donna's like always just in jeans. Like, I guess she gets dressed up sometimes. She's supposed to be the like super down to earth one. It was funny to me that was like the gift that her mom was like, yeah, she likes this perfume. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Because she's like supposed to be the tomboyish one.
Yeah, she's super tomboyish.
The other thing that's confusing is this is like 90s, 70s money. So like this
Right.
perfume was $12. And I'm like, that doesn't, so is $6 a lot of money? That's what it,
Yeah.
but they're trying to imply that it's not very much. Yet you can buy a fine fragrance for double that.
For 12, yeah.
That'd be like me saying, yeah, I have $50 to spend on a gift right now. Maybe, I don't know.
Let's see. $12 in 1976 is worth $64 in
And how about
today's-
$12 in 1998?
1998. $22.65.
That's like the kind of perfume you buy at the Rite Aid, you know?
I mean, but it's the top shelf Rite Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Red's mom is also there. Kitty's mother-in-law, critiquing her the entire time.
The entire time.
The entire time.
Can I just express something completely unrelated to the plot that
Absolutely.
really bothered me?
Yes.
What they put the tree the wrong way through the door. They were trying to put the tree in the house. You don't put a tree in the house that way. You turn it around.
Oh, you drag it by the
You
trunk.
drag it by the trunk and then put it through the door. And as it was showing them trying to get it in the door, they were trying to do it top first. I'm like, I don't know.
The one thing I was just thinking of,
That would be actors.
I looked this up. Can anyone ever tell what age Deborah Jo Rupp is? She always seems like she's
40
60.
in my mind. Okay.
Oh, she always seems old to me.
Yes.
And I
but,
just
like,
saw her in a
old
show I'm
from
watching in like
kid's
93.
perspective.
No, even now, like in 93, she looked old.
Yes.
And then
But-
10 years later, she was the same. Like in Friends, she was supposed to play Phoebe's brother's like wife or spouse or whatever.
hmm
And she just seemed, she played so old. But they were trying to imply that she was young. I don't know what that is.
No,
Maybe that's just a
no.
face.
She was his teacher.
Oh, that's
Like,
right.
Yeah. So they were trying to get someone that was younger that looked old.
The parents seem really old in this show.
Yes. But even
Yes.
watching that 90s show, they looked the same age as they did.
I know.
now.
They're those people that like, they looked old to begin with, but they never seem to age.
They just never change.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So Kelso, after they get the tree inside, after they bring all the gifts downstairs, he's like, "What? I thought we said we weren't getting gifts for anyone." So he rushes out to find the only place that's open on Christmas Eve, which is where Red's working, and they end up playing Pong.
I love that.
Also, isn't
It's
the
all-
joke that he took the money that was left over and did that?
Yes, that
Yes.
was again the gift that kept on giving.
what-
That $40, he spent a lot of it on beer, but evidently he had enough to get.
They would
Pong
have
and-
they would have spent it all on beer. That's my gripe with this. Like
Right.
they're so, beer hungry apparently that you would think.
True.
And are they old enough then to buy it? Because it wasn't
They
it
are
like
not.
17 or 18 back then?
Exactly. Well, no, aren't they like 14, 15?
Yes, they're freshmen or sophomores in high school at this point. They because the first episode they find a keg in the middle of the road, and that's like they're trying to buy a pump for the keg. And
Yeah,
they
the
won't
drinking
sell them
age
a pump
was 18 at the time, I believe,
in Wisconsin.
in Wisconsin.
Is there still an 18-year-old drinking
No.
age?
Used to be in Idaho. We could drive
Yeah.
across there to Idaho. Well, back
Yep.
before I went there, because I went to college in Eastern Washington, and the other college is 8 miles across the border in Idaho, and people would
Mhm.
drive back and forth on that road, and unfortunately, like die a lot. So they kind of had to deal with that and get rid of the whole difference in the drinking age.
Yeah, my dad would do the Idaho run when he was a teenager. And then, a year later, you could just go to Canada instead. It's
True.
closer.
I bet in Montana that was easy. Over in the northeastern, just pop over
Yeah.
the border.
Oh, hello.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And they know it too. They've got liquor stores right there. Like you cross the border and it's like, bam, liquor.
drive-through liquor stores.
I do remember that. We went through the border in Montana going up to, I think, Calgary or Edmonton or something.
Yep.
And there was like a hut and like
Yep.
one person just standing there like,
Yep.
oh, hello.
Would you like a margarita for the road, eh?
Yeah.
I will say I thought this party with the beer was pretty ballsy since they're not like in some parents, like someone's, home where their parents are gone for the weekend. Like they're
Yeah.
in his house with his dad upstairs throwing his own party. Like it's not, you're not
Yeah.
hiding. I mean, it's right there. Your parents are right there.
But I think they were trying to imply that their parents don't care enough to come downstairs during the party.
Evidently.
And even when they did, they weren't that mad about the beer. Like when
know.
when the dad came down, he was just like, yeah, put that down. He wasn't really mad about that.
Well,
He was
I
more
think,
mad about the tree.
Yeah, well, one's like a $500
I think he was mad about the
fine,
tree because it was such a hassle and it made his wife mad.
right? My audio keeps switching up. Hopefully this recording's fine. Let's see. Kelso. Oh yeah. So Kelso got Jackie some hot rollers. I think the implication is Red got the Pong set for Eric or himself, because later on it's seen in the basement of their house.
Yeah, and he makes a comment like he bought it. He was the one who bought it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The state troopers show up at the party and Midge answers the door. So classic Midge.
That was pretty funny.
Being a blonde, no offense to blondes out there. They're there to take the tree away and Kitty's like ready to.
Which also,
I don't think they take the tree. I think they just write you the
come
ticket.
on. Yeah, they're not. What are they going to do? Repossess it? Put it back? Like,
True.
Although there's a service now where they'll like dig the tree up and let you borrow it for a few weeks, and then they like replant the tree.
Really?
I have heard
Yeah.
of this. Yes.
Huh.
Just to not cut down the. Yes, save the earth, I guess.
Now you know.
I don't know if you've ever tried to carry one of those. They're very heavy.
Now you need like a crane,
I mean,
a convenient home crane.
do you bring it into your house or do you leave it in the yard?
No, I think you bring it in. I think they put it in a bucket or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And so the Red comes down, busts the party, sees, oh, wow, so much stuff went on.
It's so much for a 22-minute episode.
Yeah. Jackie.
Oh, well, first the punch, though.
Yeah.
The punch. So, yeah, after the punch is spiked, and then all the girls are like, I want punch, I don't want beer. And all the boys are like, oh, I want beer. They think they're being cool, having the beer.
and
Also
all the
like, no, I
girls
just want
get
punch.
drunk.
They get
Yeah.
drunk.
And
And
are
then
all like
the
all over
foreign
Fez.
guy tries to creep on them a bit.
Well,
Just a bit.
yeah.
Just a bit.
In his defense, he doesn't realize they're drunk.
That's true. And a friendly reminder, this guy is on NCIS now. In case you're wondering.
Wilder Valderrama. Wilmer Valderrama.
That's correct.
He also hosted a show on MTV called Yo Mama. Which was just people battling with Yo Mama jokes.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. So there's that subplot. Jackie loved the Rollers because she was drunk.
I was unclear about that. Did she love them or did she hate them? She loved them.
She seemed to love them.
Then she was still breaking up with him.
Oh, did she break up with him at that point?
It was very confusing. She did not seem particularly happy with him.
But she loved the Rollers.
I couldn't tell if it was because she didn't like the gift or if she just was over him.
Good question.
I think they're together still.
Maybe the age difference finally got to her. Just saying.
Well, she's supposed to be a sophomore, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean,
in general, like she's supposed to be either a year older or a year younger than the rest of them. But yes, she's 14, and the actress Mila Kunis is 14 in that episode. Whereas everyone else are late teens, early 20s playing teenagers.
I always thought Donna looked like she was 23.
Yeah, the whole time.
The whole time.
Let's see. Nope, lost it. The punch is lousy with hooch, as Red says.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Hyde gives Donna his gift, which is a thoughtful framed photo of them from the 5th grade. Eric and Donna aren't together at this point, even though they seem to be kissing a little bit. And Eric, not to be outdone, got her White Shoulders perfume.
Right.
But Donna seems to be moved by the thoughtful gift. Hyde's kind of a not sleazy character throughout the series.
Okay, well, I guess not the character.
Yes, Danny Masterson was convicted.
It was method acting. That's what it was.
For some Scientology related.
Great.
Yeah, and
that's true. It's not even a joke.
I was just trying to say it without having to put in E-tag on this episode, but
I don't think you have to for that.
Okay, or a trigger warning in the comment or in the description. And then warning talking about Danny Masterson. And I hope I'm not saying his brother's name by accident. Who's the oldest brother, Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, that's right. I didn't know they were related. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Anyway, Eric got her White Shoulders, the perfume, and then they get busted by Red, and then Donna gives them each a present and then leaves.
And kisses.
And kisses.
Yes.
Although
so many kisses. Very intentionally for both. Like she knows exactly what she's doing.
Oh yeah.
Like she's
were these ID bracelets? She got an American ID bracelet. Is it like a 70s thing?
Can someone tell me what that is?
I'm just going to Google.
So culturally clueless.
70s ID
because it
bracelet.
Sounds weird.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those medical bracelets, isn't it? Like
that's what I was picturing.
What does he have, like diabetes or something, or seizures? He's allergic to nuts.
How can you just go out and buy that for somebody, though?
Most likely to die randomly and have to be identified by a bracelet on your body.
So like dog tags just in bracelet form?
As a Vietnam War POW bracelet in the 1970s. That's, oh boy, that's not.
Was it?
Why would you get that?
I'm trying to figure out.
Is that a gift?
I think the implication is that he got the better gift, though.
Yes.
Hyde got 2 shots.
Okay. The popularity of ID bracelets spread to the civilian world in the 1970s as Americans began wearing them engraved with the name of soldiers reported either missing in action or being prisoner of war during the Korean or Vietnam Wars. There you go.
Fascinating.
So it has the soldier's name on it.
Yeah, that appears to be the case.
Thank you, Andrew, from Namely 70s, our 70s adjacent podcast on the Namely Network. And yeah, so it ends. Does it end with that? Eric's just like, good, you got socks. Good.
That was very awkward.
Yeah.
Well, it ends with that, but then there's that like credits scene with the dads.
The tag with Bob and Red, and Bob tries to hug him.
Yeah. And he's like, there's mistletoe.
It's the 70s, men can hug, is what
it's the 70s,
Bob
men
says.
can hug.
And then Red, being Red, says, no, they can't.
Right.
And then they hug. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
then,
this episode went by fast, by the way. There was so much going on that, like, it didn't seem like it could have all resolved that quickly.
I hardly had time to type out any of the stuff at the beginning for my notes. So it's
fast paced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Final thoughts for the episode, or Morgan, you want to go first?
I don't know, man. I remember liking this show when I was watching it, probably, I don't know, early 2000s, when I was finally catching up on culture things. But it was a little rough coming back and watching this. Just like that, in the very first, 30 seconds, they're just like staring at Donna's butt while she's like decorating. It's just very,
very male gazing.
Very. It reminded me that we have in fact made some kind of progress.
Small, but we have.
Small progress. Yeah. I did like the thing about the tree. I thought that was clever, and the $40. Not only saving the money for the tree, like that was clever, but then buying beer with it, and also Kelso just like taking what's left to get a gift.
I did love that.
I love that.
Because Bob, when he was pitching the Christmas Eve opening to Red, was like, and someone will come in needing a gift, and they'll want to buy a refrigerator.
Yes.
And then Kelso asked,
what is it, an idiot?
Yeah. And then Kelso asked how much the refrigerator is.
Yeah. I also loved them playing Pong together. That was a delightful little moment.
Oh yeah.
I watched 2 episodes of holiday television today, and either there's something wrong with my joke detector, or they just both were not funny. Like, this one I almost laughed at once or twice, but I did not laugh once during this episode. And I think that's a problem when it's supposed to be like a comedy sitcom, you know, a sitcom is what that means. You know what I mean? But it just was very, I don't know.
I laughed at this one.
I did. I know I'm the king of hot takes and trashing everything, but this show is like basically unwatchable going back, but I will give it that it's still season 1. So
yeah. Like I said, it was a little rough, and I do think they improved as they continued.
Agreed.
I mean, I laughed at the part where Kitty's mother-in-law was like, I don't remember my Red drinking before she met you. And Kitty was like, oh, I don't think I drank before I met you either.
Yeah.
Andrew's not amused.
Not impressed. No.
Okay.
And I laugh at a lot of stuff.
You do.
There were moments I found amusing. I don't know if I laughed, but I found some amusing moments. I thought it was also funny when they were decorating the tree, and there's always that one ugly ornament that like has to go on the tree, but like no one likes to put it on the tree. It's just tradition and been in the family forever. So I thought that was a fun, like, we all have that ornament.
I mean, I think too, like, good acting makes up for bad jokes. Like, I still laugh at Friends. Friends isn't comedically that much better of a series, but I watched it multiple times and still laugh out loud. And I think it's a testament to the acting to some degree too. Like, mediocre actors delivering mediocre jokes is not going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
You're saying Topher Grace.
All he does is cameos.
Okay. You're saying Laura Prepon is, well, I guess she plays a street.
Well, but they're also young at this point too.
True.
They haven't
You're saying
perfected their craft yet.
Is
I never found her funny. But.
All right. And that's it for this holiday edition of Namely 90s. Thank you to Morgan of Zeitgeist Radio and Zeitgeist Academy for coming on. Morgan, can you let our listeners know where to find you?
Sure. Head over to zeitgeistacademy.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Zeitgeist Academy, and I'm on all podcast platforms at Zeitgeist Radio.
All
Thanks so much for having me on. This was really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And as always, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Namely90s with 90s and tell us how your holidays are going. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with the 90s. And finally, you can contact us through our website. No, you can't. Ho, ho, ho. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, $40, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew. Thank you one final time to Morgan Rowe of Zeitgeist Radio and Zeitgeist Academy. And we'll catch you tomorrow for day 7 of our 12 Days of Christmas Specials 2023.
Like, that was not worth $3.